Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today is 2021, April 5th. This is a multi-large working group weekly sync meeting. And let's get started from the agenda. The first item, Jason, do you want to verbalize your update?
Sure. During the investigation that we spoke of last week, trying to find out what was going on with name server resolution for database load balancing, some fruit has come out of that one. We were able to analyze what was going on and then take a look at the patterns that were involved. What we found was that there were not resources requested. And as a result, we were getting basically shunted out of being able to respond. Console was taking a little while too long to respond because I couldn't get the CPU time to actually answer those requests. By ensuring that we get at least the average of what it was using, we were able to reduce that from a extremely large number to about 1 over 3 days.
Thank you for the update. Looks like it's a pretty good progress there, but still not fully resolved yet. Is that correct?
Right, there are still a few things that we need to better understand. Specifically, we are concerned about the number of times where there's no route to host and the rare time, and I say rare because we barely saw it before. We saw it once all weekend where we try to connect and then it gets connection refused. Now, to that end, we need to figure out if those are scaling events within the cluster or if they're pod scaling events or pods restarting for some reason. There are many things that could go into that, and we have to figure out all of the IP addresses that are involved and which services they are bound to and what the scaling events correlate and why given things happen. Some of these are expected over time, but we want to just remove as much variance as possible.
Thank you. So let's continue the research and hopefully we nail down the last pieces of this problem. So, and also I just want to highlight that this is the only outstanding issue for development at this point from this working group, and just to make sure that we are on the same page. If there are issues for development, please label that with this working group's label so it appears on our board. Okay, any questions on this item? If not, moving on to my next one. Actually, what's happening right now is blank, but I want to remind everyone that we shall have something always for what's happening next. I think naturally, of course, we continue to work on the issue just mentioned in last update. But for other things, a majority of the remaining tasks are moving the web nodes and then moving on to GitLab and Redis. So we need to articulate issues and make sure that we work on those topics. And I think Amy, is Amy here today? No. Well, I'll sync up with Amy offline, but we should have something what's shipping next before next sync. So I will work with Amy offline, and maybe Andrew, we can work together with Amy to see what makes sense to ship before next sync.
Sounds good.
Hey,
Cool.
Hey, Chen, a good one is I think we've done all the work to basically turn off NFS on GitLab.com. This is like, I think, item number 1 in the ongoing one-on-one with Sid. We should see. Part of the reason we were thinking we were going to originally do this at the end of March with all the operational issues and challenges. I know this hasn't been a priority for infrastructure, but it'd be good to make sure we get this kind of scheduled out for that perspective, because I think everything's ready to go for us basically to shut off the servers.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, I'll follow up there. Thank you. Any other comments or items? Okay, no blockers. Then let's move on to the discussion. The first one was still from me. I just see one issue on our infrastructure board. So it's a workflow. It's just the one issue for moving the web nodes. It's labeled as workflow triage. So I'm just wondering if it makes sense that we start articulating the other issues for moving the web nodes. This is probably a question for Amy, but she's not here. I will also follow up offline with her. Any questions? Next one is still from me because of the most remaining tasks are infrastructure. So I will follow up with Amy again to see if that makes sense to promote her as the DRI for this working group. And see, next, over to you.
Yeah, I wonder whether there's a plan to move GitLab.com to Get to make sure that all of our large installations are using the same foundation, which I think is the overarching goal.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm happy to respond. I wrote my response there, but I'm not sure if there's any other opinions. My take is, go ahead, Grant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, sorry. Feel free to finish your comment, but yeah, I can kind of give a quick comment on it. Yeah. So Get's purpose initially was to build the reference architectures, and we're hoping to add in more hooks to allow for more customizations. I guess in that view, .com would be like the final boss, really, because .com is like a massive, quite heavily customized install to serve GitLab at a scale that no one else really has to do. So the answer is I don't know. I guess today, but we can start looking into it more. But yeah, I think there probably needs to be quite a bit of work done to be able to support .com and all of its intricacies. But yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. We don't want to mess up Get with a needed complexity. On the other hand, G, who is also using Get, they're going to get to scale. And I think there's a list of customizations. Some of them will need to get added to Get, no pun intended. And some of them probably we should stop doing something strange on GitLab.com. We should do run the same thing as our customers run, and we should start dogfooding. So, but I'd love to see a list. So after you're done with that, don't wait for the working group, but feel free to post an issue and also post on the CEO channel, because I'd be interested to look whether the complexity increase in Get is worth it to do this. And I think we should be dogfooding. So my default would be yes, but would love to see the data.
Yeah, no, that seems fair enough. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, the idea is to keep Get, maintainable and lean, but also be able to make it scale up to these large installs. So we'll look into that for you.
Thanks.
The largest thing
Hey,
that we
Grant.
need to watch for is the fact that multi-regional and zonal clustering, to make sure that we're spreading the load across applications to give some of the resiliency benefits that we have within Kubernetes without relying on GODR itself. That's going to be the largest immediate impact that I see upon Get and how to deploy those types of clusters and workloads.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. Yeah, I'm looking into easy stuff right now, funny enough, for other reasons. Adding that to Get for Terraform shouldn't be too hard. I say without actually haven't done it yet, so take that with a big pinch of salt. But yeah, that should be okay.
So can you talk a bit more about that, Jason? I get multi-AZ clusters, but this is multi-regional clusters. Why are we running multi-regional clusters for anything except maybe GitLab runners?
I may be in error in terms of what the current infrastructure is actually doing in terms of regions. That's one of those things where I can't strictly answer, and I do apologize. The concept that I've seen come across on occasion about multi-regional clusters, or the same application deployed in multiple regions and reaching back to the same distributed state, is that you can have resiliency in the event that, say, US East goes out, you still technically can enter all requests on the primary site from US West. Now, that being said, that's part of what our goal with Geo actually is. So it may not be a GitLab.com thing, it may just be something that's in context within my own head.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to this, but I think the short answer is we should be using Geo for that. And if we're not, we should probably think about that.
Okay.
Someone else had a comment as well?
Yeah, I
Go
think it was
ahead.
me. Oh, sorry.
Popular.
Cool. We just were talking about the hybrid support for Get and sort of how that flows into potentially with .com. Was curious if you could just maybe lay some context and status on where Get's at in terms of hybrid and maybe what's left to do.
So Get has the ability now. What's left to do is mainly the docs. Get has the ability now to do it on GCP. It can, with some manual tweaks, probably run on other clouds, but on GCP today, the support is inbuilt. It deploys our recommended cloud native hybrid architectures. So Rails as Sidekick are run in the charts, named web service and Sidekick, as well as a few other supporting services like Nginx and other things, and everything else is running in Omnibus. That's where we are today. Maybe in the future we can make more product improvements to actually make it so we can run more in Kubernetes, but generally the rule of thumb is anything stateful we keep out at large scale because of various reasons.
Understood. Thanks.
No problem.
And the background here is just we had a discussion earlier today on using the hybrid architecture as a recommended sort of direction for our customers as opposed to everything in Kubernetes, just because of that recommendation. So recommend Get and recommend the hybrid architecture to have a more production recommended architecture for our customers up until Gitly and a couple of other things can run well in Kubernetes.
And to the end of Gitly running well in Kubernetes, we do have an open issue. Literally, Gitly should run well in Kubernetes. We had as a discussion item prior. So distribution, for example, is maintaining an eye on what's going on there and what we can do to assist with that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good update. Sid, any more questions around this topic?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the Delta.
Thank you. And the next, also yours.
Yeah, on the install page, maybe I should share my screen. This is super confusing in my book. So you have an offer here, try GitLab Ultimate. That's fine, we should have that. Get your free trial, that makes sense. And then this text, I would think that relates to the offer to try GitLab Ultimate, would tell me about what GitLab Ultimate is, what the free trial is. It's not. It's hints about that you should read if you read the rest of the page. So it should be below here, not below here. So it seems that the page was modified by someone who doesn't understand the technical aspects, and we should raise it if that's the case and make sure that this major entryway to adoption of GitLab is correct.
Agreed.
Yep.
Get that sorted.
Dylan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can open it more.
Thanks.
Cool. And can we do a like consult? This is the 18th time I have to point out problems on our install page. Who owns it now? Do we have a clear owner who like does a periodic review?
Yeah, I think it would be the distribution product manager. We can have a discussion on marketing on whether distribution or marketing owns that page, but I think the distribution PM and Dylan, welcome to the team. Should be doing a periodic review. Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was a page owned by marketing either, but I should be reviewing it anyways. Yep.
Yeah. in any case, I'd appreciate it if you do like a review every month or so and make sure that it's still up to date. Just do a sanity check, like, hey, is Cloudron still updating their stuff? And we still recommend the GitLab virtual appliance, things like that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for that. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
When I go to Get, I see it's in beta and there's a construction helmet on the page and things like that. What are the plans to get out of beta?
We have got an epic up, and it shows you the progress we have to that. It should only be a month or so, probably, until we get at that point. We were going to do it earlier, but with the GHU project coming in and new priorities coming in, but hybrid and zero downtime, we're working on those first, and then we wanted to get the docs into a good place before we open the doors, so to speak. Although it's in beta, it's more like a Google beta in the sense that it's working. We're running it every day. People are more encouraged to run through it, but yeah, we just want to get those last bit of docs in as well as the extra functionality. So
yeah,
watch the space.
Thanks for that. And we don't do Google betas. We take stuff out of beta when they're good enough. I think that the consensus is it's good enough. We're recommending it to people, so I would just take it out of beta, even though there's still improvements to be made. But that's my recommendation. In the end, I'm not the DRI on this.
No, that's fine. A bad analogy. Apologies.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, that's the discussion items, and the two follow-up items those are both for me. Follow up a few items with Amy, and also follow up the NFS status before next sync. So that's it. Any questions? Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good day.